And hello to all my Aquarius friends. I would like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and I will be doing your free psychic tarot reading for August of 2021. Now today, they have dialed up a storyline spread. It is a huge spread with a lot of cards, a lot of different stories. It's also called a movie line spread because we're getting basically different acts. And the whole idea is to get 3, 4, even 5 different stories about the entire Aquarius spectrum so that we get one that's right for you. Now, there may be multiple stories that resonate with you. There may just be one, and that's okay. That's really what it's about. It's about finding the one. And this way it casts a wide net across all the Aquarius, and that way we get something that's specific to you. And that's the purpose of the storyline spread. And we're going to conclude the reading with animal totems. They have asked me to do 2 animal totems for you, so I will comply, and that's the way that we will conclude the reading today. So let's get started. We have a lot to work on. So I'm going to bring you in here. Go ahead and hit the like button and build up the energy. I will say, Aquarius, that you guys did a great job last month. With that, on the likes, I think you had a tie for first place with Scorpio, if I am correct about that. But you guys had a whole bunch more views than they did, so there's also that. All right, so what I'm doing now are my ritual cuts. It basically cuts both decks into thirds, puts them back together in a separate order, and that satisfies the ritual aspect of tarot. It's the same procedure that I do for my private readings and pretty much anything that I do with tarot. So now let's get started with your storyline. Aquarius storyline August. There's our core. I think we're all in center here. So we have, let me see, 4 out of 7. We have 4 inverted in a row and 3 uprighted in a row. That's actually going to stay the way it is, interestingly enough. Let's see how many stories we have here. A lot of these don't have facing, so it's hard to... There's one. Standalone one. Do we do that separate? I guess we should. Okay, so we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different stories. Let me get them all in view here. I got to get more cards as well, but here's going to be the 5 different stories. Okay, now let's get some more information on them. Here. Storyline spreads are usually a lot of cards. This is going to be no exception to that, evidently. I'm going to move these around so you can see them better as well as soon as I get them all kind of orchestrated and laid out. We are all over the place, I know. I need one of these cards for each of the stories, and since we have 5 of them, I knew going into this Aquarius that this was going to be a big spread. I could just tell from the extra animal totem and everything they wanted. We have a lot to talk about for August. Hopefully it's not too bad of stuff. All right, I don't even know if this is worth looking at. I mean, it's just so much. So much. There's 1 story, there's 2 stories. That's in view. Good with that. What about the bottom? How's the bottom look? Well, that's just gonna have to. That's the best I can do. I tried. All right, let's go to work. We have no time to waste. Lots of stuff to do. Ay ay ay. This is gonna be the big one. We'll save it. We have a couple large ones, maybe 2 really big ones, and then 1 kind of small one and a couple medium. So we have a pretty good variety pack, Aquarius. We have a good variety pack going on before we even touch the animal totem stuff. All right, let me get this one read and get it out of the way. This is my little one. There is... feminine energy comes up first. It's not necessarily a female, but it is definitely passive energy. men can be passive as well, but most of the time this is a female we're talking about here. They're saying that you're upside down with something in regards to work. Usually it's about work. They're saying that there's something that you don't know yet. This is information that's being withheld from you, or information that you just don't know yet. And if you don't know all the information, it's really hard to make a good decision on something. It's really hard to, you're working with an impoverished map, really, in regards to this work situation, a lot of you. A lot of you may feel like your work situation is broke. I guess that's probably who I want to be talking to the most, is that my Aquariuses that are not in a good work situation right now. That's probably who story number 1 is going to be for. They bring up mending. So this is like trying to fix it. This is trying to put it back together again. Not an ideal. If you have to put something back together, that means it's broke, or it has become broken, or it's just not whole. It's just not healthy. It's just not good anymore. A lot of you may want to consider getting into some kind of higher learning, higher education thing. That usually happens when the High Priestess comes up. A lot of you may have already been thinking about this and as an escape for your job to better yourself, get a higher paying job. I keep thinking of nursing. Nursing keeps coming to me, so that's going to be a bunch of you. But, really across the whole spectrum, if you are that passive, perhaps female energy who is not very happy about work right now. So seriously consider doing some kind of extra learning or collegiate courses or something like that to get out of it. That's what they show. So there's story number 1. Now that's a perfect example of bringing something into your life. We're going to talk about more of that when we do the moon cycles. Let me get that out of my way here and create some more room. Okay, over here, this whole thing is completely blocked. This is going to be Aquariuses that are in a relationship with whom they feel is their soulmate. The whole thing is just blocked right now. So that basically tells me that I need to read it a little bit vague. They usually don't want me to be too specific when it's about this, but they're saying that this is not a time to be alone. They're saying that this is a time to be communal. I don't know what they mean by that. If that just means like be with other people, maybe you're spending too much time together and you need some alone time, you need some time apart. That could be the case. I'm not exactly sure, but they say that time apart or be with other people comes up. I do have soulmate at the beginning, so that's why I'm attaching the entire story just to my Aquariuses that are in a relationship or married or whatever it may be, whatever level it may be at. They talk about a bad decision in there. That's just a factor of some sort. They talk about getting over some kind of mental imprisonment of some sort. A lot of you are breaking free from ideas that held you back, or maybe limiting beliefs of some sort. This whole thing, everything I'm describing, ties into one story. And it's very interesting because I don't know a whole lot of specifics about it. They left it vague, like I said, for a reason. And that is probably so that wherever you are, that you can attach to the story without me being too specific to kind of push you away from it. I guess what I can say overall, the advice or whatever, is the time away part is a huge deal. Or any time, it doesn't. I don't care who it is. You put two people together for too long, they're going to fight. They're going to argue. They're not going to get along. It's not going to be rainbows and bubblegum. It's just not. So time apart is a huge deal. Bad decision. I don't know what could be more vague than that. That's the Fool card inverted. It basically talks about a bad decision that's been made. Just be careful maybe not to act too fast in the situation. We want to avoid a bad decision. Hopefully that is something that's later and that already happened. Hopefully we can avoid it altogether by me telling you to be a little cautious and slow down with this perhaps. They talk about getting out of the mental imprisonment that you or somebody has put you in. That's obviously a good thing. So you're coming out of that in this process, and that may be part of the going out and spending time apart, something like that. It may just be like some form of a break in a relationship as well. That's kind of how it feels. But overall, we just need to take it slow. I need you to take it slow so that you don't rush this to death and either make or break it too early. Kind of let it play out. Let it do its thing. That's what I have for story number 2. Story number 3. We're talking about financial growth, or money growth, or being invested. It's being put into something. A lot of you are putting money into your kids, something that's going to benefit your kids or somebody younger than you. I don't know if this is like a trust or some kind of like an account or a 401k or an escrow or something like that. But they talk about growth, financial growth, or a financial message of growth. And this is usually slow growth. It's not quick. So that's what makes me feel like it's more like, stocks, bonds, that kind of spiel. But they do bring up a young person attached to this. That's why I said, for somebody else perhaps. There's also a lot of whoever story number 3 attaches to here, whoever knows what I'm talking about, there's a lot of direction going on here. It comes up with message in a bottle. That's the other side guiding you or trying to communicate to you from the other side in the form of messages. So you're being guided, perhaps your dreams, following the signs, out and about, stuff like that. So keep being aware of those. In a lot of ways, I feel like that's already occurred. But at the same time, if there's more of it to come, I definitely want you to be super aware of those messages, especially when it comes into the financial area. Just really follow the signs. They're really coming in and saying that for a reason, so you're being guided for specific reasons. That's story number 3. Okay, the big stories. Let's see. I guess it doesn't matter where I go. Story 4. Let's go here, story 4. A lot of you are making, they're talking about bosses or higher up, usually the work or the financial ladder. These are people who are doing quite well. If you're struggling with work or finance, story number 4 is probably not for you. If you're pretty good with your work/money situation, it could be you. They talk about, they want you to be more authoritative towards something. This may be getting off your butt and doing something. This may be taking charge of a work situation or your work corner, or different for different people. It could be retirement, etc. They want you to something's being neglected that they really want you to be the boss about, and you may actually be the boss, because I do have the King of Swords comes up. It doesn't mean a man necessarily. It is the King of Swords a lot of times means an actual boss, and which may be you, it may not be you. They do have some kind of there's a layer of theft, deceit, or loss in this, so just kind of be wary about that. If your boss is like a shady character, keep an eye out for that. Maybe check out your pay stubs, or make sure you're getting paid correctly in the right hours or the right salary, something like that, that you're not being looked over for incentives or raises or something like that, because there is something shady going on. Hopefully you're not the one doing the shady business, because karma is a real thing, and bad karma comes back too. They do talk about easy money. That's what made me feel that we were talking about maybe the richer part of the audience, the more wealthy part of the audience. They do show peace on the other end of this, so I think whatever situation I'm describing is going to end okay. It may not feel like it right away. It may be a little weird. I mean, it is kind of a weird mix of energy. I'm not going to lie. A lot of it could quite literally be a mental thing and not even physical. Very much like mental thievery, like getting in your head, or somebody else being in your head too much, that kind of thing. I guess there's not a whole lot else for me to say about that. Very interesting story right there for story number 4. And before I get into the big one for story 5, I do want to bring up the moon cycles, because I'm seeing a lot of different moon cycles here. The moon cycles for August follows a very simple pattern. August the 8th is the new moon. That is the time when you want to bring something new into your life. You want to manifest it. Beginning of the month is really the key. It doesn't have to be on the 8th. Really, any time toward the beginning would be just fine. An example of that would be like the money thing. The financial investment could be, beginning of the month. That would be much better placed at the beginning than the end. So the soulmate story, which I think was, what was that, 2, 3? I forget the number now. The soulmate story with the break in the relationship, that would be more full moon energy. That's something getting out of your life. And I paused there because I was trying to differentiate. Well, do you really want to get that out of your life, or are you trying to fix it and bring something in? Well, I guess it could go either way. But anything, doesn't matter what it is, anything you want to get out of your life, full moon energy works best for that. That's August the 22nd. That is the garbage truck of the universe. That's anything you want to get out, whether it's emotional baggage, problems, habits, could be physical stuff, and it could also be people. If it's just not working out, if it's just not repairable, something like that. End of the month, best time to do such a thing. If you try to do that stuff at the beginning of the month, you could still do it. You're just going to struggle a little bit more. It's going to be a little rougher going. And that's why the moon cycles are such a huge thing. And that's why I've put together a moon cycle cheat sheet. And I'm offering that up absolutely free to anybody who subscribes to the newsletter. I send one newsletter out a month in the email program. It's very easy to sign up for. It's on the website, scottsagent.com. At the very bottom, you put in like your first name and your email address, and you send it off. I send you back your moon cycle cheat sheet. It's very resourceful. It's a very easy way for you to benefit and have things just flow more in your life, for the major decisions at least. Minor day-to-day stuff, it's not so important. But for the major stuff, very good to use that. Okay, so last story number 5. I feel like I'm taking forever. This is going to be a long reading. Hopefully you're okay with that. I have them too, and this too. This is a very interesting story. The first thing that they show is male energy, King of Wands. This is usually a business-oriented man, or a working man type stuff. I shouldn't tie it down too tightly to that, but that's the first thing that occurred to me. They didn't come out and say that it's a man, so I also need to tell you that it's the energy of the King of Wands, which is taking authority over your work. Didn't I say that already? Yeah, that was kind of one of the other stories as well. So it's kind of you can see how some of these blend together. They're talking about taking great authority over your work. In this case, we're talking about Aquariuses that have pretty good control of it right now. They're saying you do a good job, but there's something else that they want you to birth that's not here yet, okay? Now, this message, like I said, is not just for the men. This is for anybody who is trying to do something new with your work, that you're already in a pretty good situation with work. They're talking about birthing something new. I have the Empress card, the feminine energy, divine feminine. It's coming in blocked, so it's saying it's not here yet. But it's something you need to either pay attention to or awareness to or work to, because it's coming up for a reason. They say that this is going to end up being like a clean slate wiping something down to its foundation, or like absolutely like ground zero, because I have the death card. The death card usually to me does not mean physical death. That's not how I read it. I read it as a complete renewal, just what death is. It's energy transferring from one to another. That's what they want you to do here. They're saying that this is a complete brand new chapter, like to the point where it's so new, it's like energetic, like nothing is the same anymore. It's like completely new. So that's what they're trying to get you to build. For a lot of you Aquariuses, this is like a brand new fill in the blank. I'm not sure. Different for everybody. They're saying that through this renewal, keep in mind that there is going to be a layer of bad luck. There are going to be setbacks. I have that with the Wheel of Fortune inverted. It's basically good luck being blocked, which means bad luck. So there are going to be setbacks, but keep in mind when the Wheel of Fortune comes up, it's saying that it's transitory, it's temporary. It's just like a dip in the roller coaster. You go too far down, you're going to come back up. So any kind of any kind of hesitancy that you have with it, just kind of persevere and get through it, because it's going to be short-lived and you're just going to be moving right back up again. They do show there's also some funky moon energy in there. Nothing to do with the moon cycles I just talked about, but just more kind of the shady, mysterious moon energy. Things don't necessarily make sense. This is going to be extremely important for you to get the timing down right. Get the timing down. I have TikTok for my clock card for the Oracle card. So that's talking all about timing and hitting the timing right. Because if you do it too early, it's not going to go right. You do it too late, it's also going to be a struggle. So really being intuitive with that is going to be key. Man, I wish I could give you more advice on that, but for a general reading, when we have so much, Aquarius bubble energy here, it's hard to get specifics on that. But anybody who's going through that, you may want to pursue looking deeper into this, because this is a huge timing deal. And they're saying they want you to go through it, and they want you to prime it. Prime is a perfect word for it, really. To get this thing ready. Just pulling the trigger of it is going to be key. And I can't tell you right now when that's going to be. I'm guessing not August, because we're reading for August and it doesn't show me it's happening now. So I'm assuming that this is like September plus. That's kind of like what we're looking at. So that's a big one. Probably a more rare version. I mean, we have other stories here that'll probably apply to most of my Aquarius friends, but this is going to be, this is a very big one. I have a lot of major arcana cards here. So for those who know what I'm talking about there you go. Ton of information right there for you. So now we're going to get into your animal totems. Got to pull a couple more cards for it. Now they want me to do a transitory one, which is 2 of them. And I keep getting majors. There are no majors for animal totems. When I do 2 animal totems, what they're asking me to do, instead of just give you characteristics about one, they're really talking about you doing a transition between one to the next. So we're going from one animal into the next characteristically. I don't even know if that's a real word, just made it up. So let me see what we got. Now I'm making up words. All right, so the original one that we're going from is going to be a ram energy, into a moose. Ram into a moose. Ram into a moose. Okay, so both, let me make sure that I didn't just kick that off. Okay, we're all right. Ram energy is going to be extremely territorial. I guess a moose will be too, really, so that's not a big change. So continue to be defensive. They're both kind of animals that can become prey as well, so keep your eyes open. Be observant of your surroundings. Don't kind of trust people too much. Don't close off your awareness. You're cautious, like stay cautious. And you know what else? You really have to pay attention when you got 2 animals that are so similar and so close together. You really have to pay close attention to the differences. That's really what you need to focus on. So in this case, the ram, first of all, could be an Aries. If they want you to transition from an Aries to a moose, they're basically saying, get rid of the Aries. Obviously, that's very specific for just some people, but since we're talking about a ram, I have to at least bring it up. Aries is a ram. The other part of it is risks. I think moose travel on I think they traverse pretty rough terrain as well, but nothing like a ram does. Ram are on those rocky ledges and, walking on edges of cliffs and stuff like that. So we're moving from that into a moose, which is a more kind of a stumbly, bumbly animal. And so that's why when it comes to risks, I would just not do it in August. August is just not the time for Aquarius to take risks, whether it be with your health, with your finances, doesn't matter. I would just really play it safe in a lot of areas in August, and hopefully whatever reason they're bringing up ram to moose subsides by the time September comes around, and we get you back to the point where you can be risky again, risky business. So that is going to conclude our entire storyline spread. I know that was a lot. This has been probably a record long reading, and I apologize for it, but when you got so much stuff to cover, I try to do my job as diligently as I can for you guys. So that is going to wrap up that. I'd like to thank you for joining in. Remember to subscribe. I do these videos every single month, and like the post if you have not yet, so that way you will get them every month, and I will see you guys in September.